Hi! Today we're going to make a very special quick craft together. This craft we're going to make out of clay, and it's going to help us take deep breaths. Sometimes making art and then using that art later can help us calm down and feel more peaceful. Are you ready to make this one with me? Let's do it. Welcome to the studio. This craft I'm going to make out of air dry clay. If you don't have air dry clay, you could do this with Play-Doh too, or maybe even a salt dough. Just go online and find a recipe. It's really easy to make. This piece of art that we're going to make today isn't just about the finished product. This piece of art is about the process. That means that making it is just as important as what we make. This is the part, the making it, that's going to help us relax, talk about our feelings, feel our feelings, and calm down. So, start with your piece of clay in your hands. And the first thing you're going to do is not even think about what's worrying you. You're just going to try to think about the clay. Give it a sniff. Do you like how it smells? What does it smell like? Squeeze it in your fingers. What does it feel like? How much strength do you have to use in your hands to squeeze it? Squeeze it as hard as you can. Now, make it into a ball by going like this. Now you can start to think about what's making you feel anxious or worried. Or if you don't know why you feel that way, just think about that feeling. Sometimes, doing something really strong with our body, if it doesn't hurt anybody or anything, can be a really good way to get our anxiety out. So do that now. You can also slam your clay against a table. Just make sure that it's nice and safe before you do it. I'm starting to feel better already. I'm taking all the energy that's in my body and I'm putting it into the clay. When you feel good about how much you've smashed your clay up, you can do that part as long as you want. Grab a paper plate. Now I'm going to put my clay in the middle of my paper plate, and I'm going to use my fingers to spread it out. This is another thing that feels really good if you have a lot of extra energy in your body. You can put it right down into the clay. Do you see how bumpy it looks? Super bumpy. It looks like a sea when the sea is really wild, when there's a storm. That's kind of what it feels like in my mind sometimes. Really windy and stormy and crazy. Try to make the clay look like your brain feels right now, or like your body feels right now. Sometimes, when it's hard to find the words for how I'm feeling, making a piece of art like this can help me describe how I'm feeling. I don't know exactly the words, but I'm feeling like this. You know what I mean? You know. Now that we have all of our energy out and we made a good example of what it looks like in our minds, we're going to start to make an example of what it looks like when we start calming down. If you're using an air dry clay, grab some water. If you're using Play-Doh, you don't need water for this part. You're going to start slowly smoothing over the bumpy parts of your clay. use your hands and go over all of the mountains and valleys, over all of the ridges and bumps. Use your hand and the water to calm down the storm that you made in your clay. As you do this, think about the storm that you were feeling earlier. Imagine that you're taking those feelings and giving them a nice pat. That you're smoothing them out. We were going really fast before and pressing really hard. This time, let's go really slow and press really softly. Instead of making our clay bumpy, let's try to make our clay smooth. And as we smooth our clay out, let's practice smoothing our thoughts out. Smoothing our breath out. Even smoothing our voice out. If you start to get worried again, that's okay. Just start paying attention again to how the clay feels on your fingers. You can even shut your eyes if you want. Sometimes that helps. Now that my clay is nice and smooth, I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to start in the very middle and I'm going to make a little dent. Then I'm going to draw a swirl, just like this. Just like that. And I'm going to use my finger to trace this swirl over and over again, making it deeper and deeper and smoother and smoother. Slowing down and smoothing out our breathing can also be a really good way to calm down our minds and our bodies. You can think about your breathing like this swirl. Every time you make your swirl, you're going to make it a little deeper and a little smoother. So practice breathing that way too. Watch. I'm going to start out here. And as I trace my swirl in toward the middle, I'm going to breathe in. Then I'm going to trace my swirl out and breathe out. Let's try it together. Ready? Breathe in. Hold it. And breathe out. See what I mean? Keep practicing your breathing and smooth out your clay until you like how it looks and feels. Once you're done sculpting your clay, put it aside and let it dry. This is a piece of clay that I made before today so that I'd have one ready to show you. You can leave the paper plate on, or once your clay is dry, you can peel it off the back. Air dry clay is pretty fragile once it dries, which means if you have a thin piece of clay, it might break off. You also have to be very gentle with it. But you know what? That's okay, because sometimes when we're feeling anxious, we need good reminders to be gentle with ourselves. When you're feeling really worried or stressed, you don't need to tell yourself mean things like, "Hey, stop it." You need to tell yourself nice things like, "Hey, it's okay." Hold yourself gently and take some deep breaths. Once your clay is dry, you can still use this as a way to remind yourself to breathe deep. You can still start in the middle and breathe out, and start at the end and breathe in. Let's try it with this dry one. Ready? Once your clay is dry, you also can paint it. I'm gonna make a puddle of paint right in the middle. And then, just like my breathing, I'm going to slowly paint all around my spiral. I'm not in a hurry. You don't need to be either. I'm imagining as I paint my nice calm breath on the inside of me going out, out, out to the outside of me. My calmness inside helps me be calm outside. I'm going to add another color around the outside. A darker blue. And this is going to remind me that when I help myself be calm on the outside, like I'm in a nice, quiet, safe place, or with a friend or a grown-up that I trust and love and who loves me, that can help my inside be calm too. I hope that you had a good time in the studio with me today. I had a really good time making this craft with you. You know, it's a really normal thing to feel anxious or worried or stressed or angry or just overwhelmed. Everybody feels that way every once in a while. But it still can be scary because you feel like, am I always going to feel like this? Or you can just feel really out of control. This kind of art project can really help us remember that we aren't going to feel that way forever. And even if we do feel anxious or worried or stressed, we're going to be okay. We can feel that way and be okay at the same time. It's not going to last forever. And we have lots of tools to help us when we're feeling overwhelmed. Breathe deep and calm down. I love making art with you. And remember, we're gonna make it. See you soon.